Okay, welcome back, everyone. Let's get right into it. Part 7. Keep it steady. Continue the mystery. From the beginning, I have talked about being a mystery to a woman. Let her do all the work of pulling the information out of you. This is so important, and I really want to emphasize that you need to maintain your level of mystery, not just in the beginning, but throughout the relationship. One of the things I would like to say in this case is that the concepts of being a mystery and being a challenge are pretty much the same thing. If you are being a mystery and are being challenging to a woman, it is the challenge for her to get past the mystery and find out who you are. Only the women that have a high level of interest in you are going to dig deeper into that challenge. So now you have been out on your first successful date. You have done everything right, and some people say, call her the next day and tell her what a wonderful time you had, just so she doesn't sit and wonder. I say, wrong answer. You want her to wonder about you, because again, that is going to have a positive effect on her level of interest. As far as timing, when do you call her? Let's say you have had your first date and everything went great. You're going to wait a week. You're going to use the same principle you used when you called her for the first date. If you have had your first date with her on a Wednesday or Thursday, you're going to call her the following Monday or Tuesday to ask her out for a weekday date later in the week. If you met her on a weekend and went out on a Monday or Tuesday, call her the following Monday or Tuesday and ask her for the later part of the week. The important thing is that you want to limit your dates to once a week. When you make your date, set it up a couple days in advance. It is similar to the concept of spoon feeding her your time. When you are not with her, then she is thinking and wondering about you, and it's causing her level of interest to go up. The first 2 months that you date her, you're going to go out once a week. If she calls you to talk, that is her way of saying, I like you. I'm trying to get your attention. That's what women do. The more they like you, the more they want your attention, the more they want your presence. The pursuit. If she does happen to call you, remember, the phone is for making dates, not giving out information. You need to maintain the attitude of a busy guy. You will say, hey, what's going on? She may say, oh, I just wanted to tell you that I had such a great time the other night at dinner and just wanted to know I was thinking about you. These things show her level of interest. The fact that she has called you means that she is now pursuing you, which is a great thing. It means that you did a good job on your first date. Not all women are going to call you after the first date. Actually, very few of them will, except the ones that have an extremely high level of interest to start with. If they do call you, you could say something along the lines of, great, well, I had a really nice time too. Why don't we go out next Monday? I'll pick you up at 8 o'clock. She might say, sure, I'd love to. You would say, great, well, I've got to run. I have a bunch of stuff to take care of, but I'll see you then. She will say, okay. The goal is to eventually get the woman to start pursuing you. If she's pursuing you, it means she has a high level of interest. But if she hasn't called and you went out on a Monday, you're going to wait until the following week to call her and ask her out for a Monday through Thursday. Your Fridays and Saturdays are off limits until she says, how come you never take me out on a weekend? That tells you, I want to go out on a weekend with you. I really like you. Usually, if you do everything right for the first 60 days, she will be in love with you by the end of the second month. Then you can start spending more and more time together. This often happens around the third, fourth, or fifth date. It all depends on her level of interest from the beginning. The lower her interest level, the longer it takes. If she starts out at a really high level of interest, she may start pursuing you after the first week or two. Regardless, for the first 2 months, the phone is for setting appointments, period. It is not giving out information. If you give away all the information about yourself over the phone, it is anti-challenge. You are not being centered. All of a sudden, you will see yourself going from a guy that has been really busy, maybe dating 10 other women, to a guy that has nothing else going on. A few weeks into the relationship, if you start doing that, she will stop pursuing you. You will start pursuing her again and she won't be as eager to see you. This is because you have actually lowered her level of interest. So it's a dance. It is a balance. And why you have to understand that you always have to read her level of interest. That is an important concept. If she is always chasing you, then she can't get rid of you. She can't be breaking up with you if she is pursuing you. If she is calling you all the time, keep the conversation short. Tell her you are really busy, but you would really like to see her at dinner next week on Tuesday. Make it a definite date. Don't let her try and give you the call back to verify. She will respond, great. Initially, in the first month of or two of dating, you haven't proven yourself. You are kind of on probation in her eyes. She is slowly opening up to you emotionally. As long as you continue to pass her test and you do things right, over the long term, once you have started to successfully open her up emotionally to you because of your strength, she will continue to open up more and more. She will want more and more of your presence and who you are as a man. Again, if she is chasing you, she can't be getting rid of you at the same time. So, as you go through those first 60 days and you keep your dates with her to once a week, you are building anticipation. Her interest level is rising. You are playing all your cards right on your dates. You are getting more and more affectionate. Intimacy starts to develop, and the possibility the first time you sleep together happens. What usually happens to me is that the first couple of weeks, I will be the one that calls and asks her out on a date. As she gets comfortable, her interest level starts to go into the high 70s, low 80s. Then she will actually start calling me. When she calls, I ask her out for a date. Just remember, in the first 60 days, you want to stay off the phone, even if she is calling you. When she calls you, take the opportunity to make the date with her. Try to keep it to just one day a week, unless she starts saying, I can't wait, I want to see you tonight, I want to come over. However, if you see her too much, too soon, she will back off, then you need to do the same. If she does start calling you, no matter how many times she calls, you need to stick to the once a week rule. If the last call was on a Wednesday, don't call her until a Monday or Tuesday of the following week to ask her out. If she doesn't seem as enthusiastic to see you, it is because her interest level is dropping. If she doesn't accept your plans for a date, wait another week to ask her out. The important concept to grasp is the need to back off. In my situation, I have met a woman I really liked. We started dating. At one point, she started calling me all the time. I always answered her phone calls and was always available. We started seeing each other a lot. Suddenly, without me paying attention to the signs, she was starting to tell me, I'll call you when I'm on my way, and give me other types of wishy-washy responses. What happened is I was no longer making definite plans and was placing myself at her beck and call. Without realizing it, I was slipping into the mode where I thought, okay, we've been dating long enough and I could just hang back a little, no big deal. The end result was eventually she reached the point where she called and said, I'll call you when I'm on my way. I replied, no problem. We never set a definite time and I went along with it. Then she started telling me some wishy-washy nonsense about her cousin wanting to come over and said, we have a date tonight. I'm here waiting for you. At that point, she canceled on me, and I didn't hear from her for several days. What happened was that I was allowing her to totally have her way with me. She would make plans when she wanted to make plans, and call me when she wanted to call me. Me being at her beck and call was an anti-challenge to her. She was no longer curious. At that point, she knew she could have me. I wasn't paying attention to her interest level. She wasn't in love with me, so it was way too soon for me to do the things I did in the situation. What I want you to understand is that if you screw up, let's say you are dating and she's calling every day and then all of a sudden she backs off. Don't call her because she didn't call you. 9 times out of 10, it is a test. You need to hang back and wait. Go back to the once a week rule. If you are talking to her every day and then the last time you hear from her is on a Wednesday, don't call her until the following Monday or Tuesday to ask her out for a date in the middle of the week. Make sure it is a definite date. If she won't give you a definite date, do the takeaway. If she responds with, okay, we'll do it another time, wait until the following week to call and ask her out again. If you still can't make a definite date with her, don't bother calling to ask her out again. Because at that point, for whatever reason, her interest level has dropped too far. Remember, if she likes you, she will help you. Pay attention and do not get sloppy. Another example I give involves a friend of mine. He had met this woman he really liked. When he first met her, he made it very clear that he liked her. He was talking about taking her out on a date and was able to get her phone number. He called her the next day and got her voicemail, and she never returned his call. A few days later, he called her again. Now, to explain this a little better, she gave him her phone number and I asked, when you called, did it go straight to her voicemail? He told me each time I called, it would keep ringing and then finally go to the voicemail. I told him, okay, it's on her cell phone. You left 2 messages, which you know she has received. She obviously has her cell phone and knows when she had missed the calls. Don't call her again. You've left 2 messages. If she's interested, she will call you back. If you keep calling her, she is going to see you as weak and needy, and she will definitely not return your calls. You already did a sloppy job when you first met her. At this point, the only thing for him to do was to walk away, so he didn't call her. A week went by, and he really wanted to call her to find out what had happened. I told him, just hang out. She will either call you or she won't. If she doesn't, it's because you came off too weak when you met her. Over 2 weeks went by before he came to me and said, Corey, you're not going to believe what happened. I said, let me guess. She called you. He replied, yes. I asked, did you make a definite date? He said, yes, we're going out on Thursday. I told him, good job. I had coached him for what to do if she did call. Don't talk on the phone for an hour. It will lower her interest level and reduce the anticipation. Make a definite date, get her address, and tell her you are going to pick her up. Mention that you are busy, but you look forward to seeing her, and get off the phone. He went out with her, and they've been together for 8 to 10 months now. He is probably going to end up marrying her. Had he continued to call and pursue her, she most likely would have never gone out with him. He would have completely missed his opportunity. It was over 2 weeks before she finally called him back. The bottom line is that if she's interested, she is going to call you. Don't start running after her. Like the cat, you will only chase her away. All women, whether you are just starting to date or you have been together for a long period of time, will at some point test you by not calling you. Even if she is totally pursuing you and calling you every day, at some point she is going to test you by not calling. Don't run after her, especially if this happens within the first 60 days. Wait until the following week to call her, set a definite date, and get off the phone. If it is someone you have been dating and are in a serious relationship and she stops calling, you also need to let this go. Don't call her up the following week and say, what happened? I didn't hear from you. Be indifferent and say, hey, how are things going? Sometimes women will stop calling to test you. If things are too easy and just going along, she will back off on purpose to see if you run after her. Stand your ground. You can't react to the fact that she has all of a sudden stopped calling you. If you do, she will see you as being needy and back off even more. If a woman calls you in those early days of dating and has something she wants to talk about, just tell her, honey, I want to hear everything about it. Why don't you tell me about it when I pick you up tomorrow night? Or tell me about it when I pick you up on Tuesday. I want to hear all about it. That way I can give you 100% of my attention. Stay off the phone until she is completely head over heels in love with you. By staying off the phone, you are limiting your contact with her. It builds anticipation and you are being a challenge. While she is waiting for the day to come when you get to see her again, her interest level is going up. Once it gets into the 90s and she is completely head over heels in love with you, she is going to be calling you all the time anyways. She will start calling you every day. Only then you can loosen up a little bit, but keep in mind that the phone can be anti-challenge. Some guys get hung up on, oh, I'm having this great conversation with this girl, but they never go out on dates with her. I know I said this somewhere else in the book, but unless you are going out on dates, you do not have a relationship. Moving into relationships. How do you know when it's time to go steady? You always let the woman think it is her idea. The woman always controls where the relationship is going. You just gently lead, so she thinks it's her idea. She'll let you know when she's ready to go steady. Keep dating other women until she tells you it's off limits, or until she lets you know that you are to be dating no one else other than her. Remember, you need to be indifferent about her wanting to be exclusive. Act as though you could take it or you could leave it. Until she lets you know, assume she is not ready to go steady. Always use challenge and keep her wanting more, especially in the first 60 days. Don't get hung up on one particular woman. You must be indifferent. Put who you are out into the world and accept whatever comes back. If you love any other way, it is attached, needy love. Real love is none of these things. Also, try to keep the frequency of dating to once a week. As time goes by and you do everything right, she is going to want you more and more of your time. Initially, you will be calling and ask her out for a date once a week. As her interest level goes up, she will start to pursue you. She will start calling you and wanting to see you more. I wanted to give you an example of what does it look like when a woman basically says, I only want to date you. I was dating a girl several years ago that I really liked. I was also still dating other women. She knew I was dating other women. She was dating other guys too. It came to the point where we were seeing a lot of each other. We had been dating for a couple of months and we were seeing each other 2 to 3 times a week. We were driving in the car one day and she said, I know you have these other girls you're friends with that you also date. Then she added, but you better not be sleeping with any of them. That was one of her way of telling me these other girls were off limits. Later on in the same conversation, she said, I know you have a lot of other women that are friends and you've dated a lot of different girls, but I found out you were still dating other women. I'd be really upset. That was her way of saying, you better not be dating anybody else. After me asking the what do you mean question, she finally came right out and said, I don't want you dating anyone else. I want you to be dating only me. I responded by saying, what do you mean? Are you saying I have to get rid of these other girls? She replied, yes. I answered, well, can I just keep one of them? At this point, I'm teasing. I'm being playful about it. She said, no. I asked, does that mean I have to burn my little black book too? She said, yes. I said, what if I keep a photocopy just in case? She said, no. You have to get rid of your book. She was laughing the whole time we were saying this, but this is how she came out and said, you and I are exclusive. This is what I want. Never forget, even when you are moving into some serious topics in your relationship, love is playful. Keep it funny and light, even with serious subjects. Don't get into serious discussions thinking you have to do things a certain way. Love is supposed to be fun. Don't talk about your future because you will lower your chances of being in it. Let her be the one to bring it up. You need to make it her idea. It is important to remember that men pick, but women do the choosing. It's like that in nature. You see a lot of animals competing for a female, and she decides which male she's actually going to mate with, who is suitable and who is acceptable to her. It's the same thing with men and women. Women are going to decide who they want to date exclusively and who they don't. Excuse me. Remember, the couple that plays together stays together. Think of it as though you are two children, always wanting to have fun. That is the approach you need to take with your relationship to keep the magic alive long term. A guy that understands these principles doesn't need to ask where a woman is at in her interest level or where the relationship is going. He always knows where it is. He is always going to judge a woman by what she does, not necessarily what she says. Most guys don't really understand what the meaning of her words are. Testing during the first 60 days. Let's say a woman breaks a date with you. Your relationship has been going well, and all of a sudden she starts breaking dates. Right after she has broken the date, she says, but I can't wait to see you again. Men scratch their head in confusion thinking, what does that mean? If she really wanted to see you, guess what? You'd be going out with her. You would be spending time with her. You have to understand that what the meanings of these words are. Another thing that's really important to remember is that if a woman shares information with you, you will always want to remember it. If a woman goes out on a date with you, they will remember the color of the tablecloth. They can tell you what outfit they were wearing, what you had for dinner, what she had for dinner, what the bottle of wine was. They remember everything. Once again, you are left scratching your head thinking, what? You will be tested later to see if you are really listening. It may be 2 or 3 dates down the road, but you are eventually going to say, oh, remember when we were talking about this, and remember when I told you that story? If the response is no, I've never heard that story, she is going to know that you aren't listening to her. So when you are looking her in her eyes and acknowledging the stuff, you have to remember because there will be a test later. If you fail that test, she will start throwing other things at you to see if you are still listening that time. You will start hearing that those age-old words, you don't listen to me, and you will give the age-old response, yes, I do. When a woman says you are not listening to her, she is indicating that you are not remembering the things she is saying. In her mind, you are not listening to her. You may be looking at her, but you are not hearing what she is saying. Are you remembering everything she is saying? Granted, we may not remember things as well as women do, but you had better start remembering the gist of the conversation, or there's going to be hell to pay. Women are always going to push to see your boundaries. They might say things playfully when they're dating. If you don't do this for me, I'm not going to see you anymore. My ex-girlfriend from London would tease me and say, well, I'm not going to come see you then. I'm not going to come see you next month, or I'm not going to come see you in a few weeks. I would respond, okay, well, I guess it's time to get out the old black book and call up some of my old girlfriends. She said, you don't have a black book. I replied, yes, I do. I just hid it in a very safe place from you. She said, well, I'm not going to come see you. I answered, okay, you're not going to come see me. I'm sorry for all the fun that you're going to miss out on. I guess I'll just have to spend my time with someone else. I would just banter and be playful. It was her way of testing, because guys will bite into that and say, what do you mean you're not going to come see me? Then she says, oh, I'm thinking about not coming. I have a lot of things going on. Him. But I really want to see you. Her. Well, that's really sweet, but it's her way of testing you. Are you really strong? In this situation, she wanted to know that if she didn't come, I would still be myself without her being there. She was trying to test and see how badly I wanted her to come see me. Her tone was serious when she called, almost as if to say, hey, something might be coming up. I took an attitude of being jokingly indifferent in this case. Okay, I just want to add something there. I did have a girl that I tried joking with, but I did it wrong, and I kind of came off a little bit angry. Like, it's never good to try to say something angrily. I guess it's better to joke with a smile, I guess. I don't know. But anyways, she was bluffing a test to see where she stood. She did come to see me, and later when we were driving back from the airport, she said, were you worried that I wasn't going to come? I gave her a joking glance and replied, no, I knew you were going to come. I knew the only reason you threw that out there at all was to test to see if you could get a rise out of me. I never doubted you were going to come. She broke down and laughed so hard and admitted that I was right. The whole thing had been a test, and she was just teasing and playing around to see if she could get a reaction. Okay, so I just wanted to reiterate back to that one girl that I was dating. So she had kids, and I just asked her, so I said, so how many guys do I have to worry about beating me up if they see me with you in public? And she turned with a smile and she said, four. And I got mad, and basically I didn't have anything jokingly to say back. So yeah, that was the downfall of that relationship. I did get mad because I was like, four? I was like, what the fuck? But this is before I knew all this shit. Okay, again, women will always test you. If things had been going well, she will test to stir things up. She will do it just to make it interesting and to break up the monotony. Anytime a woman senses weakness, she is going to test you and exploit it more. If she senses you are needy, or maybe she said something that made you jealous, she is going to do more of what made you jealous. She is going to do more of what made you feel needy, just to make sure you really aren't needy. The more she senses the weakness, the more she's going to push and the more she is going to test. You have to become comfortable with being yourself. You need to make it a part of who you are. Sooner or later, you will own it, and you have to own it. Because if you can't maintain it later in the relationship, if you ever let that down, you are not the person she thought you were in the first place. She will see weakness and test and pull away, which makes you start to pursue, which will drive her away even more. You have to be strong and in your center. You need to be indifferent and walk away. If necessary, a woman has to know that if she pushes you too far, you will walk and never look back. Until she knows and feels that, you are never going to completely own her heart. Okay, so I just want to whatever, you know what I mean. Um, man, I was with this one girl and I was just so into her and I couldn't stop fucking talking. I was just like, I just kept talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. I was just like, I'm so fucking happy. I just got to keep talking. Yeah, that didn't last long. Fuck. Anyways, that's why I bought the book. The Big Bounce. I want to talk for a moment about backing up when things start to get squirrely. What happens if you have been seeing a woman consistently and now she doesn't seem to get excited about seeing you? Or you can tell her interest level is dropping. You always want to be aware of that. What is happening is the anticipation is not where it needs to be and you are not being enough of a challenge to her. It is time to pull back a little bit. Back up. If normally you call her back right away when she calls you, wait an hour or two. If you always answer the phone when she calls, let it go to voicemail. It is taking 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Women pull away, they bluff and test. The more you chase after them, the more they run and the more they test. Remember, the ideal place to be in a relationship is with the woman pursuing you. Back up and let her find the thrill of the chase again. My name's Chase, by the way. When dating a woman that has just come out of a long-term relationship or marriage, or she recently broke up with her boyfriend that she was with for 3 years, you have to keep in mind that her feelings are going to be really raw. Emotional healing takes time. I once read that it takes a year and a half to recover for every 5 years of relationship. For her feelings to completely heal, it is the time it takes for her to really emotionally ready to be in another long-term relationship. I had one girlfriend that I was really good friends with. I used to do infomercials in Orlando and she was my co-host. I could tell there was chemistry between us. I actually took her out because all of the signs were there. We had a lot in common and our resumes were almost identical. We went out for the first date. We went out the first and second week. When I called the third week to ask her out, all of a sudden I was getting really wishy-washy answers. Everything seemed as though it had been going great and her interest level was going up. The week before we were kissing, she almost sucked the tongue out of my mouth and had invited me into her apartment at the end of our date. I later found out she had started seeing a guy she was dating for about 2 years. She had broken up with him about 6 months ago and then got back together with him. That's what had happened. Keep in mind that women who are on the rebound, their emotions are very raw and they may display high levels of interest. You could go out and have a great date and all of a sudden they don't want to ever see you again. They can't see you anymore and you are left scratching your head again. Why? What happened? They weren't emotionally ready. That's all it takes. You were just a fuck buddy. One other important point for avoiding the big bounce is don't try to make your girlfriend or wife or your lady your mama. If you've God, I've done that so many times. Fuck. If you've ever had something really hard to deal with in your life, emotionally, or dealing with emotional baggage, don't cry every night in your woman's arms. It might be okay the first night, but if it's an ongoing thing, you are looking for someone to take care of you and baby you. It is one of the quickest ways to turn your lady off. If you are looking for a woman that is that giving, you are looking for someone that is totally in her feminine energy. If that's where she is at, she isn't going to want to deal with your neediness. A woman in her full feminine wants a man that is in her full masculine. She wants a strong, centered, confident guy. Okay, I just want to say I went on a date with this one girl and I was having a lot of family issues. And when we went out on a date, the whole time, I was just freaking talking about my fucking parents and my friends that I had fucked over. I mean, it was mainly my fault. I had screwed up and, my family was really mad at me and kicked me out the house. And on our date, I was just talking about how they kicked me out the house and holy shit. Dude, she fucking ignored the fuck out of me forever. She wants nothing to do with me. It's been like 6 months. I'm still waiting for her phone call. but whatever. The L word. When I tell a woman that I love her, I usually let her say it to me first. When she says she is ready, she will come right out and say it. Most guys on the first date or the second date are already saying, I love you. Women respond by pushing that neediness away. What? I don't even know you yet. As I said before, guys are physical for the most part. Guys fall in love through their eyes and women through their ears. They go instantly to that place of, wow, I'm going to marry her. Women take longer. How this usually unfolds is that you start dating her and you have the first 60 days of the relationship. You're going out with her once a week, somewhere around, say, 8 or 10 dates. She will move into the I love you phase. If you go out with her once a week for the first 2 months, by the end of the 2 months, if you do everything right, she will be head over heels in love with you. As you get toward the end of the 2 months and she has said those magic words, I love you, you should have already seen it coming. By now, you should have known exactly where her interest was, because you have been watching the signs every step of the way. Once she is totally in love with you, then you can start seeing each other every night. You can also spend the weekends together, all the weekends together, and see each other 6, 7 nights a week if you want. Better not fuck that up. Some women have a harder time saying those actual words. But again, you will have been watching for all the signs. You will know when she has reached that level of interest. If she's calling you all the time, calling you once or twice a day, I can't wait to see you again, I miss you so much. That tells you exactly where she's at. I'm dying to see you. I've had such a great time the other night. When can I see you again? It is her way of saying, hey, I'm wide open to whatever you want. She is telling you, I want your attention, I want all of your presence. At that point, you can start spending more time with her. If she's totally gone over you, she is going to be calling you all the time. Anyway, what you will notice is that 3 to 4 weeks into it, if you have been successful at raising her interest level, she's actually starting to pursue you more. You won't even have to call her anymore. When she does call you to talk, you just make your date on the phone and say, great, tell me about it when we go to dinner. You will still be a challenge. You keep letting stuff build up. It will make her anticipate spending time with you. Oh, I can't wait to see him. When you finally pick her up and go out, she can just completely unload all this stuff she has been wanting to share with you. You will be able to see how excited she is to see you. You will be able to feel it when she showers you with her affection and with her love. Page 69. Part 8. Solving the Mystery. Pay attention. Paying attention is, simply put, just being aware. It is important to always use the chart we demonstrated in Part 5 as your little radar. Once you have passed the first 60 days of dating, you are going steady with your girlfriend and everything is going well. Paying attention becomes an important part of maintaining what you have worked so hard for. You are still going to always be judging her interest level. You are always going to be watching what she does. You are always going to be watching her actions. Otherwise, it is too easy to slip into complacency. I still do this. You start not paying attention, or you don't call. You don't take your lady out. You don't do what you should. She will let you know, but it is subtle. By the time you figure it out, her interest level has dropped beyond possibility of salvage, and she is gone from your life. I just want to stop right there. One time I got this chick's number. She was so hot, way out of my league. I made the mistake and called her 3 weeks later. Yeah, she does not give a fuck about me. I had a girlfriend once I dated for about 6 months. I was getting complacent. I wasn't sure that I really wanted to stay in the relationship. I was having a lot of doubts. She had this guy she dated before me and had blown off when we first met. I remember one night we had talked on the phone and I was kind of short with her. I was real busy. I honestly didn't even realize it. I was just really stressed out over work. She usually called me 2 or 3 times a day. Over 4 days went by and I hadn't heard from her. I thought, uh-oh, I must have done something to really piss her off. So I called her and she told me, I went out with my friend, meaning her ex, and he told me I shouldn't break up with you. He was holding my hand and comforting me. He said, I should make it work with you. I'm thinking the whole reason she's telling me this is, hey dude, this is your replacement. If you don't get your act together, I already have your replacement lined up. You have to be able to read between the lines. It was her subtle way of saying, you are really screwing up here. Women will not lie. They will always tell you what is going on. If your relationship isn't going well, or you think it is going well, and she starts telling you about this really nice guy that she works with, who has been asking her out on a date and hitting on her, and is really nice, if she is talking about this other guy positively, it is her way of saying, you need to wake up and get with the program. I have somebody else that is interested in me. If you keep lowering my interest level, you are going to get replaced. Women are not going to come right out and say that. They they are a lot more subtle, and you have to learn to read between the lines. If you are screwing up and are not spending the time with her that you should, or you are not treating her like you should, you can always tell by how she is acting towards you. Has she stopped lovemaking, kissing, and is no longer touching you? Does she not seem as happy to see you anymore? Maybe she's a little bitchy when you get home. This is all her way of saying, you are failing at making me happy, you are failing at giving me your presence and your love, and so therefore I'm shutting down. A lot of guys will say, she's just being a bitch, but it's her way of saying that you are being weak, and you are not centered, and you are not taking care of business the way you should. Once you have passed the first few months and your lady is totally in love with you, at that point, the more of your presence and love you give your lady, the more she wants from you. Women are all about opening up and receiving your love and presence. The masculine energy is all about purpose, drive, direction, and mission in life, and breaking through barriers. Physically, women open up and receive. They are penetrated in every way by their man, and men in every way penetrate the woman and the world. So the more you give your lady, the more she wants from you. That is why she's calling you during the day. Hey, just calling to see what you're doing. It's like a big billboard saying, hey, I just want to feel your love. I want to feel your presence. That's why when you walk to the door, she doesn't have she doesn't even have to tell you she loves you. She just runs up and puts her arms around you and kisses you. It is because she wants to feel the love that you have for her. It is also why when she says, hey, look, I have had my nails done today. If you say, honey, I'm watching TV, it is the worst thing you can do. You are basically saying, I don't love you. I'm not giving you any of my presents. Get the hell out of my way. You are unimportant to me right now. You are invalidating what is important to her. When she says, I just had my hair done. What do you think, honey? You have to stop what you're doing and say, you look beautiful. You look great. She did a great job. I love your nails. I love the new dress you just bought. Your new hair color looks great. That new handbag, I think it goes great with that outfit. You look really hot. Women want to be noticed. Everything they do is about getting your attention. That is why it's so important to understand what it means to them. One of my friends that wrote a testimony for me recently saying that I saved his relationship. His girlfriend was doing everything she could try and get his attention. All she wanted to do was feel him. I told him, your sole purpose for being in that relationship is to give to her. So you either need to give to her or go out and get yourself a hooker. Then you can have a transactional based relationship with no emotional attachments. Once he got that, he understood that everything she was doing, the clothes she was wearing, and the hair was all about her saying, I want to feel your love. I want to feel your presence. Okay, so I'll just stop right there. So basically what that is all saying is that you're going to want to be friendly, and you're going to want to tease and joke and become that friend to her, that extra friend. You know how women say, "Oh, he's my best friend." My husband is my best friend. That's because he's fucking friendly to her. Basically, what happens is that a woman closes down. She shuts down and wants to put this wall up. You have shut her down because you haven't given her your presence. She is going to make it 10 times as difficult for you to get back into her heart again. She's going to test you and make it really hard because she wants to be sure that if she does open up to you, and receive your love, that you are going to give that love and presence to her. If you tell her you love her and you don't show that by your actions that you love her, it's just oh, I love you. It means nothing to her if you're not romancing her. In her mind, if you really did love her, you would be showing her that you loved her. If you really did love her, you would spend the time trying to find out what is bothering her. You would want to know what's really upsetting her. You would get to the root issue and let her communicate so she feels like you completely understand her. So what happens is that there is a shift. Once you have passed her test that you are worthy, it is an ongoing process. As long as you continue to do the right things, she will remain open to you. And if she ever does shut down on you, then it is your job to break through those barriers. When you have time in with her and been with her for a long while, it's a lot easier to do that as opposed to when you just first meet her. So that's why a woman is going to call you in the middle of the day and say, "Hey, I just wanted to call and tell you that I love you." All she's looking for is to feel you. She wants to feel your presence. She wants to know that you love her and you care about her. But when you are really busy at work, you can't stop what you are doing. Just talk to her every time she calls. Here's a good example. One of my former business associates is a very weak guy, and his wife is extremely needy. She used to call him 3 to 4 times a day because she was so insecure. He had cheated on her 2 or 3 times over the course of their marriage, and they had been together for about 15 years. When she constantly called him, what she was looking for without realizing it was validation. Does he still love me? Is he still being faithful to me? That was something he had fallen down on a few years earlier in the marriage. No matter what it was, he would stop what he was doing to sit there and talk to her. Once we were in a meeting with about 10 people, she just kept calling over and over because he wouldn't pick up. Finally, he started to worry that it was an emergency. He picked up the phone and said, "We're in a meeting. Are you okay? Is this an emergency?" She said, "Oh, no, I just wanted to call and see how you were doing." He replied, "I'm in a meeting. That's why I kept sending you to voicemail. The only reason I answered was because you kept calling back and I thought there was something wrong." And I'm pretty sure he was like saying that like as an asshole. If your wife or girlfriend calls you in the middle of the day and you are busy doing something, you should not stop what you're doing just to talk to her. What you should do if you answer the phone and you are talking to her is say, "Honey, I'm really busy. It was really sweet of you to call and tell me how much you care. I just want you to know that I appreciate the phone call, but I can't talk right now. But I will definitely see you tonight." When you go home that night, show her how much you appreciate her calling. Bring her a flower and spank that booty. It was good hearing. That was not in the book, by the way. I added that. It was good hearing from you today. I love hearing your sweet voice in the middle of the day. While you were at work, you weren't really able to talk to her. She may have felt a little rejected, like you couldn't make time for her, but you just so happened to be busy focusing on your purpose. She may be feeling a little down about that. So this is your opportunity to really open her up and acknowledge what she did. It is her way of saying, "I just want to know that I love you by calling you in the middle of the day," acknowledging it. Kiss her, hug her, and say, "It was really good hearing from you. I just love hearing your voice." That's all you have to say. It makes her feel as though he really does care. Again, pay attention. Women want your attention all the time. You have to acknowledge the things they do to get your attention. Acknowledging everything they do because you are the one who opened them up and you worked hard at always building anticipation. Now they are always looking at receiving your love and receiving your presence. That's what the purpose is to her phone call during the day, the emails, why they write little cards, why they leave you little notes, and go shopping. It is why they spend 2 or 3 hours at the salon getting their hair done. They are just a big billboard that's saying, "Show me how much you adore me and worship me and love me." It is important when you first come home from work that the first thing you do before anything else is to go up to your wife and say, "Hey, honey, how was your day?" If she jumps in your arms and is hugging and kissing you, it tells you her interest level is in the 90s and everything is great. If she says, "I had a horrible day," Guys have to understand that your lady don't want you to solve her problem. She just needs you to listen to them. So say to her, well, tell me about your day. It is important to have specifics in there and say things like, how'd they make you feel? And don't leave anything out. What I will often do is while she talks on and on, I'll say, well, what else? Tell me more. You are pulling everything that happened because just by talking about it, it creates rapport. It is making her feel better just by saying, so if I understand you right, you were talking to your girlfriend, Sally, and this and that, and this and that, and she said that, and it made you feel this way. Repeat back of some what she said to you. It is your way of acknowledging her and letting her know that you understand her because women want to be understood. Now, let me get off that technique right there. That's the alpha male technique. That's why a girl will always choose that guy over any other guy that tries to get into her pants. She will always say, fuck no, I am with someone. The art of communication. One of the clients I am coaching was in a meeting with his girlfriend the other day. Besides being in a relationship, they also work together. Whatever he said in the meeting, it was as though she was countering everything. She was disagreeing with everything he was saying. I told him the reason why she is disagreeing with you is because you are not going well. It is not going well between the two of you. The reason she is so against or adamantly opposing him is that he was being weak. He failed at his mission and his purpose. This was her way of kicking him in the knees and getting him to step up. Being man and step up. She was testing him and using this as an opportunity to try out a confrontation with him. I've had coworkers do this shit to me and it fucking pisses me off. Because then you got to stop and be like, yo, bro, I've tried being nice. I tried being calm and collective. But, dude, hear me out, man. Listen, I don't know. Let me get back to the book. She was throwing a storm at him and she wanted him to stay present and strong. What I suggested in this situation, okay, don't get angry. Stay positive and calm. God, it's so hard to stay positive and calm. That shit takes practice. Holy shit. There's something hitting the wall in my fucking room. The fuck is that? Oh, it's my bed. Okay. I gotta stay still. What I suggested in the situation was to acknowledge what she was saying. I appreciate the fact that you said this, and this. I appreciate your input. However, you have only been working with me for a few months. I have had this business for many years, and this is what works. This is what my decision is. She was really nasty and would throw barbs at him. He finally turned and said to her, I am in a really good mood today, and I am going to stay in that mood. I have had things I have to do, so I am going to go. And he left. She had been doing this in front of some other employees and had been way out of line. I told him, you absolutely did the right thing. Man, Corey Wayne is fucking amazing. What a fucking brother, man. If he would have sat there and tried to argue with her, all it would have accomplished was to have escalated it into a big argument in front of everybody in the office. He was centered. He was strong. He was not letting her get to him. That was what he needed to do in that case. As I explained to him, 9 times out of 10, if she's mad at you for not taking out the garbage, you take the garbage out and she's still angry at you. It's not that she was mad at you for the garbage. The reason she was angry was that you gave her your word and then didn't keep it. When a guy does that, it does not make this lady feel safe. It makes her doubt his core. When she doubts his core, she either has to test him to feel his strength or to help get him to step up and be a stronger man. So basically, she has to call him out on his bullshit. You don't want women calling you out on your bullshit. Throw the trash away. One of the things I use a lot to break tension is humor. If I have done something that has really made my girlfriend mad, I will try to be humorous about it. I will tease her. I will banter back and forth just to get her to loosen up and to get her back in her feminine and to where she can be playful again. It is very important to use humor and be playful and not take things too seriously. Okay, so basically what Corey is saying is say a joke, say something like, kind of off the wall, and if she gets mad, just say, "Hey, look, I was just joking. I'm just trying to loosen you up. You seem kind of down. Like, come on, talk to me. I'm just picking with you. Like, I didn't mean it. It was a joke. I've tried that joke. Some women are like, fuck you. Don't fucking joke with me," and those are not the women you want to be with. Okay, so that's why communication is so important. If she has shut down and you say, "What's wrong, honey?" she'll say, "Oh, nothing. Everything's just fine." If you say, "Okay, as long as everything's fine," and then you go sit down in front of the television, she may come out and say, "Why don't you take the damn garbage out?" She's not mad at you for not taking the garbage out. She is angry because you haven't opened her back up. So basically what that means is like, you got to look at her and be like, tell me there's something bothering you. I know it. I can see it. You're not even looking at me. You're obviously flustered about something. Come on. You're being way too serious right now. Talk to me. Let's communicate. Um, okay. Women want to be in their feminine energy. You didn't penetrate her with your love and presence. That is usually when guys say, "Well, she says one thing, and then when I do that, when I do it, when I do what she says she wants, it makes her mad. She told me everything was fine and to go out and play poker with my buddies when she was in the hospital. So I went out and played, and now she's mad at me." He went and played poker when she was in the hospital? Ooh. Women want you to know instinctively what to do. They don't want to teach you how to be a man. They want you to already know how to do all these things. One area where women could do a better job is helping their man understand. Most women just assume he'll figure it out or he should already know these things. That's why you don't want an insecure woman who doesn't know how to communicate. I'm just going to keep my mouth shut. Okay, let's finish. Why should I have to teach him? But most men really don't know these things. So when she says, "Oh, nothing's wrong," and you know something is wrong, then you need to shut off the television and say, "Honey, what's the matter?" She might say, "Oh, I'm fine. I don't want to talk about it right now." Not that is a test. It is her saying, "How much do you really care about me? Are you willing to get past all these barriers and these blocks I'm putting in your way to find out what is going on?" I had the same similar situation where I had this girl and she, you know, told me to change the subject. And I was like, "Look, what is wrong? You're telling me to change the subject because obviously the subject is upsetting you. Let's get over this and figure out where the problem is." And finally she opened up and told me about it. So that was good. I did learn a thing or two from this book, and I'm still learning things or two. This is probably one of the most greatest books ever written. She, "I don't want to talk about it." Me, "I'm not going anywheres. Tell me right now." No, don't say it like that. Then I'll start saying some humor. I will sit there. If she's in the kitchen or something and say, "What's wrong?" she might say, "I'm not talking to you." Ooh. Me, "Okay, well, I'll just sit here then," and I'll start singing or something along the lines. Jimmy cracked corn and I don't care. I'll start throwing little things like almonds at her. He's really picking at her. Uh, he's that's If she starts putting dishes away, I'll start taking dishes out and put them back on the counter. Damn, I'll just be really silly and goofy. Yeah, that's hardcore. That's literally he's basically saying like look, I don't give a fuck if this is pissing you off. You're gonna talk to me, sweetheart. So then she'll say, "What do you mean? Why are you bothering me?" I'll say, "I'm not bothering you. I just don't want to know what's going on in your mind." She might say, "I'm not talking about it." Me, "Okay, you're not talking about it. So tell me what's really on your mind." "I'm not talking about it." "Well, what's eating you up?" "I'm not speaking to you. You piss me off." Oh, I pissed you off, huh? So what are you mad about? Talk to me. I want to know. Honey, tell me. I want to know what's on your mind. Now I have finally broken through and started on hitting the root of the problem. She might say, I really, really don't want to talk about it right now. And you might say, well, I'm not going anywheres. Then I'll go over and shut the water off and close the dishwasher. I'll hold her. Man, that's okay. So this girl must really be into you, because I tried to do that one time and she slapped me, but she wasn't a good girlfriend. So I did not vet properly. She may squirm and push me away and say, "Don't touch me." Then I might start tickling her. I'll pull up her shirt and blow on her belly or something, being silly or outrageous, just to get her out of that state. She is now seeing that no matter what she does, she can't sway me from my purpose. My purpose is to find out what's wrong, what's on her mind. My purpose is to give her the love that she is really looking for. Eventually, she may just break down and start crying and tell me what's going on. I will keep working to pull it out of her. What's the matter? How did it make you feel? When she tells me, well, you did this, 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 and it really bothered me, I will repeat some of it back to her and say, so when I did this and I said that, it really hurt your feelings and made you upset. When you communicate with women, you have to find out what's going on. Dude, Corey is a fucking boss. Okay, he's fucking brave. Honey, what's bothering you? If she says, oh, I'm fine, and you know something's wrong, you can't walk away. If you walk away, she may throw a dish at you as if you say, I can't believe you. Okay, if a woman throws a dish at you, bro, you may need to find another woman. I can't believe you. You told me nothing's wrong. You have to dig deeper, because she is testing to see if you really care enough to want to know what's really bothering her. If you really care enough to take away the pain she's feeling inside, you need to draw this out by asking her questions. Honey, tell me what's upsetting you, and not leaving until you get it out of get it out of her what is going on. Most guys will just say, I'm sorry, and she'll say, okay, thank you. I'm glad you're sorry. Or the guys say, I love you, instead of saying, she wants you to show it. The way you show it is with your presence and by showing her. You are not moving me off my center here. The words don't really have that much meaning to her. It is your actions and the fact that you are not going anywheres. It is you understanding her when she says, well, you did this, this, and it really hurt me, and you repeat it back. Oh, so I did this, this, and this, and it really made you feel this way, and it hurts you, and it made you feel like this. Is that right? Is that how I made you feel? Keep working to pull it out of her. Tell me everything. Don't leave anything out. And after she pauses, tell me more. And how'd that make you feel? Every time or so when she shares something with you, in order to create rapport with her, you're going to repeat it back to her, some of the things that she has said to you. So you're telling me that the other day when I left without kissing you goodbye in the morning, it made you feel like I didn't care, right? It was as though I didn't appreciate that you woke up extra early to get the kids ready and to make me breakfast. Am I hearing you correctly? Is that what you mean? So basically, I hurt your feelings the other day. You need to acknowledge this. I'm sorry, honey. I was just in a hurry, rushing out the door, not taking the time to thank you for breakfast and getting the kids ready. It was it was wrong of me not to appreciate you. It was wrong of me not to acknowledge that. It was wrong of me not to give you that. I know that was all of you were looking for, was that little peck on the cheek or that little kiss, but you're right. I was really focused on what I was going to be doing during the day, and I know I was being selfish. I was only thinking about myself and not thinking about you. I took you for granted totally, and I am sorry. Dude, let me just stop and say Corey Wayne must be finding some really fucking loving, amazing women that really have loving, caring mindsets. Cause I must be getting some fucked up women. Holy shit. That is why you need to apologize to a woman. Most guys will say, well, I said I was sorry for not kissing you goodbye. You didn't take the time to find out exactly what was going on. Okay, so that's page 181. We'll pick that up next time. I want to thank everybody for staying for the video. I hope that was a good presentation and a good book read. If you enjoyed this time, or you feel like you want to donate or help me start my internet company, my GoFundMe and my PayPal link is in the bottom. Go subscribe to Corey Wayne's understandingrelationships.com. He has a newsletter, and support him, because he's a good coach. Have a good night. See you next time. Goodbye.